Welcome to Living Your Best Senior Life. I'm your host, Nancy Andre. Today we're talking about a topic that can be difficult for many families, but also incredibly important. Planning for and implementing end-of-the-life arrangements in a way that honors your loved one's life, legacy, and wishes, and which reduces the burden for families. My guest today is Howard Breslau, founder of Sacred Traditions Funeral Concierge, a unique service that helps individuals and families navigate the funeral process with compassion, clarity, and care. You can learn more about his work at sacredtraditionsconcierge.com. Howard, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am really excited to have you on the show and just to be able to share this resource, this incredible resource that is now your baby, your own company. So many people have never really heard of funeral concierge. What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's a relatively new category, and so it has long been something that has been on my mind as a function of born out of personal experience with loss. I lost my sister Wendy in January 5th, 1972. She was heading up to Vassar College as a sophomore and was killed in a car accident. She was 19 and I was 7. That was my first experience with loss.
Yeah.
And that was very formative for me. And ultimately, subsequently, I learned that I was comfortable comforting those who had had a loss. And I had this idea for what is essentially now a funeral concierge firm that would help folks, help families and individuals at life's most difficult time when they have a loss.
Right.
And so this is something that I've long carried with me and ultimately have acted upon it in the last couple years to start this.
I'm so sorry, and especially to have something like that happen at such a young age. I can only imagine what that did. I love that now, and I'm sure your sister would as well, that you've created something really incredible and something that's so needed in her memory. So I know that she's smiling down with us. It also sounds like you had seen just a real gap. Families often feel very overwhelmed, especially during a time of grief. What are some of the most common challenges that people face when they're trying to make funeral arrangements?
Yeah, there are quite a few. Well, first, encompassed by the backdrop of grief, having lost someone, it's quite overwhelming, even if someone has been through it before, and we all have or will. But fear is really one of the biggest challenges. Folks are afraid to talk about this, face their own mortality, make plans for that. Some are superstitious. Fear is a huge factor. Fear of doing the wrong thing, making the wrong plans, not having the right knowledge, not having the knowledge of the landscape if they've not done it before. Finding those who they can trust.
I gotta believe that's a big one.
It's a huge one. It's a huge one, and part of the reason that I started this firm, Sacred Traditions, to help folks have a trusted partner in guiding them through in navigating and guiding through the funeral process. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and cost is it's not insignificant. So that can drive some of that fear and sort of aversion to planning.
What about, can you actually walk us through what you actually do for a family and, and what basically happens next? So somebody places a call, they say, call Sacred Traditions, get in touch with Howard, he is just fantastic. But if you can just walk us through next steps, what happens? Sure.
Someone picks up the phone and calls us, we respond generally within an hour.
That's nice.
We pride ourselves on being responsive to folks, and obviously it's a most difficult time. We don't want to do anything that would add to that burden. So we want to help folks expeditiously. We would set up a call with them, an initial consultation that would be complimentary. We would determine what they are looking for, listen to what their needs are, what their desires are, and then we would begin crafting a plan for them, depending upon a personalized plan, depending upon what they would want.
Okay, because you could probably, well, I guess you would be a better person to tell me, but some people might need the whole service that you provide. Other people might just need parts of it.
Right.
And so it would really depend upon what the specific needs are of the person or the family. Okay.
Exactly. And we can meet people. We do meet people where they are. If folks just need one service, and I can go through the 5 areas of our service, but if folks need one of those, we can help them. And if folks want help from the first phone call along the continuum through the days and weeks that follow a service or a funeral, we can help them in that way as well.
That's great.
The 5 areas that we serve are funeral planning and guidance. So folks may not have ever put plans in place. I know one family that we helped recently had said, Howard, we have not done anything. We dragged our feet. We were,
I'm sure that's probably
afraid.
A very, very, very common
Absolutely,
theme.
absolutely. And so we help them put in place a plan with regard to a funeral home, helping them select a funeral home. Massachusetts is highly regulated. You need a funeral director to oversee all of that, and we work collaboratively with funeral homes. So we worked with them to put that in place, choose a cemetery, and other plans as well. So we help folks put in place their plans so that they are confident for the future. That's the first pillar. Second pillar is Shiva and memorial observance support. Again, overwhelming when one has a loss, and then you're having this memorial observance or Shiva in the case of some families, and then you've got to deal with catering and a whole myriad type of details and responsibilities. We take all of that off so that the family can grieve and focus on healing and focus on family and not on logistics.
And that is just so important.
Absolutely.
To take this off of them and just let them start the process.
Absolutely, and not have to worry about those details.
Absolutely.
Third pillar is creating celebrations of life, memorial services, graveside services, unveilings. We work with a family to honor lives and legacies, and in a way that is meaningful to their loved one, or meaningful to them if the loved one had not planned.
You find most people have not planned.
Most families, most individuals have not, for one reason or another, which we've mentioned, unfortunately. And we try to get folks to do that so that, and there are a myriad of reasons to do that. We can talk about those as well, but that's the third pillar. The fourth is service officiation. Many folks do not or are not affiliated with a house of worship, a synagogue, a church, and don't have clergy, but they want someone to lead the service, lead the funeral, the graveside service. And so we work with a variety of folks to offer to our clients to do that. And that's one of the things that I do as well. I find it among the most meaningful parts of what we offer, services we offer. And the fifth is post-funeral aftercare and support. So many details following the service. Once the service ends, a lot of administrative matters and paperwork and other types of things.
And that's something Sacred Traditions can take care of.
We can work with the family to do that. There are, yes, we can work with the family to take some of that off of them so that they can then move forward.
That's great. That is great. I absolutely love the idea of someone who can walk beside the families through an incredibly overwhelming process and then implement those plans. It lifts some of the weight during the most difficult moments of life. You had mentioned just a couple minutes ago about faiths. Do you work with all faiths and all traditions? And how do you help families honor cultural or spiritual practices that are really important to them?
Right. We do. We work with families of all faiths and traditions. We work with families that are very traditional and very observant, and others that are more secular. We find we're versed in, or can be, in some traditions that maybe we aren't as familiar with, but we will work with the family to create and craft a service that is appropriately honoring their
I love that.
the life and legacy of their loved ones.
Right.
So, yeah.
That is incredible. One thing we talk about often on the show is the power of planning ahead. How does the pre-planning end-of-life arrangements, how does it benefit seniors and their families? And if you can give me a couple examples, because I think it's something that everyone ends up going through and can struggle with, and just curious.
Yeah. It's really very important in a variety of ways and for a number of reasons. Pre-planning, if we can get folks to do that, it helps them maintain control if they want to maintain control. It ensures that their wishes are honored. And it helps to maintain family harmony, which is not always easy to do. It alleviates mystery at the time when death happens.
Yep.
It avoids misery. It alleviates uncertainty and ensures clarity.
Okay.
And those are things that are vitally important. I lost my mom about a year ago, and she had felt uncomfortable about sharing a variety of things and didn't want to, put her plans, most of her plans in place. We knew a few things, but she really didn't put her plan in place despite our best efforts. And so my sister and I had to, in the hospital, had to make sort of seat of the pants decisions. What would she want? What would she want?
Okay.
And so, not having had all of those written down in a plan, we were sort of flying blind here, and felt there is guilt, there is uncertainty, and by putting everything in place, by putting a plan in place, it removes all of that. It removes the angst and so forth. And as I like to say, if you put your plans in place, if you make your wishes known, you get what you want. If you don't, you get what others think you want.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Which is a biggie.
And it's a big responsibility on the family members, and there's a lot of emotion and feelings of guilt, and is this the right thing, and uncertainty.
Right.
And so pre-planning is really vitally important.
Okay. For the people who feel uncomfortable about talking about these topics, and many, many, many do, very common theme I'm sure you hear all the time, how do you help them start the conversation? Like, what's a great icebreaker, for lack of a better word?
Yeah. Well, what we do when we start talking with families is that we ask them to focus on values, culture, and traditions, and not on logistics, which can be overwhelming, they may not know about. They do know about their values, about their family's culture, about their family's traditions, and what's important to them. And so we ask them to really start thinking about that first and foremost, and then we can let the logistics play out from there. So that helps to start conversations in a way that is sort of like a lower bar, and a less, in a less fearful way.
Okay. I wanted to see, could you give me an example? Let's talk first. Somebody calls and they don't know you, they've been recommended to you, they are a devout Catholic, and they say, I have no idea, I'm calling on behalf of my mother. And my mother was, somebody that went to church every day. She's out of state, but I'm here locally in Needham. We're going to use Needham as the example. And what would happen next? We just heard great things. We heard we just need to call you and you'll take care of everything. Can you walk the viewers through the various next steps?
Sure. Well, we would take a long, hard listen and have a great conversation, a good conversation with the daughter, first and foremost, learn about the family, learn about her mother, learn about the dynamics.
Okay.
And then if her mother were to be involved, and family dynamics are as they are.
Love those family dynamics.
It may not be that
Right.
that she could be part of that for a variety of reasons, maybe dementia or what have you. But we would involve her as appropriate. Otherwise, we would work with the daughter to craft a plan, a preliminary plan, and then reach out to the various and sundry vendors and others that would be appropriate, whether it's out-of-town clergy, out-of-town venues.
And will you actually arrange, let's just say that another child was with the mother, let's just say she was in Maryland. Would you actually help them to say, you're going to call this funeral home, they're going to pick, do you know what I mean? Like literally taking us through, like this person knows nothing.
Right.
So.
We would give them options.
Okay.
We would help them understand what those options are.
Great.
What their examine what their priorities are.
Okay.
Then put a plan in place so that nothing falls through the cracks.
Okay.
And so we would, based on our initial conversation, we would do a bit of research on what was important to them. If they didn't already have those relationships, we would present some options to them and help them make choices.
Okay. So basically, it can be one-stop
plan.
shop. Concrete plan, it can be one-stop shopping.
Absolutely.
Okay, like the biggest takeaway would be call this person, call this company, and they will take you through all the various steps.
Correct.
Okay.
And we can help them at any point in negotiating contracts, in negotiating services, making sure that those services are reasonably priced and so forth, so that they don't feel taken advantage of.
Perfect. Okay. So the funeral services today look very different from what many of us grew up with. What are the trends or the new options that you're seeing that people might not know about?
Well, still a lot of folks are very traditional, and they want to be, buried in a family plot, if you will, or buried in the town that they grew up in or lived in.
Right.
But others, what we're seeing now is an explosion, really, of cremation.
You are. Why are you seeing an explosion, for lack of a better word, of cremations?
Well, I would say that I hate to make this the first point, but it is less expensive, and I think a lot of folks are driven by cost.
Right. How much is it roughly? Just to give a guesstimate.
It really varies. It could be quite significantly less, depending upon, and this is also personalized.
Yeah. I mean, I know I have something to, 7 years ago, my sister passed, and I believe, and again, she wanted to be cremated because of the cost, and I believe it was $1,000. I didn't have anything. I didn't go around and price shop. I mean, we were just doing this. So just to give an idea, because I had no idea. I'm like, is it 20,000? Is it 20 million? Is it $10? I mean, how much is it, right?
It could be a fraction of the cost, depending upon what one wanted comparatively to a traditional burial.
Okay.
But cost is a factor, and what we saw is that sort of real uptick post-COVID. Because of the healthcare situation, folks couldn't attend, and there was this issue with the with COVID itself, the healthcare issue, and so that drove those cremation numbers up quite significantly, and I think they're continuing to maintain that level.
Yeah. I think things also change with religions too, because I know my religion is Catholic, and at one point in time it was, they were against it, but now it seems to be, the church is acknowledging it as it's a,
right,
a
and that's
viable
also
option.
happening in many religions now. So yes, there is that. We're seeing an increase in green burials at sea.
Green burials is what?
Green burials, burials that have or are perceived to have less of an impact on the environment.
Oh.
So
I didn't even know that exists.
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Definitely exists. Burials at sea.
Okay.
Human composting, where a body is put into a special container, and then sort of in the traditional composting fashion, then the body breaks down because it is organic and so forth. And so that would have a lesser or perceived lesser impact on the environment, and some people are choosing that. Yeah.
Interesting. And then you said burials at sea. Is that the cremation, and then you take the ashes and
it could be
put them into the sea?
Or there are capsules and containers that can be used as well.
That's incredible. I didn't even know that exists. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're seeing celebrations of life, growth and celebrations of life, where folks would, rather than having a traditional funeral or a traditional memorial service, would have a celebration of life, maybe a separate burial, but then adjourn afterward and have a celebration which might include music and food, really dressed up, sort of whiz-bang.
Like a party.
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
A party, but without the guest of honor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Slideshow, video, memorabilia, and so forth.
Right.
So technology has grown enormously. We're seeing, and we still now see, and will continue to see, I imagine, virtual funerals, Zoom funerals
That's
as
another
well.
thing that I've most recently noticed, which is
Right.
interesting, so that the people that cannot attend, but it's so very important that you have spread the word about the services, and they can just log on to their computer,
Right.
or their iPhone.
Exactly.
And that's really great.
Right, where some family members would not have been able to attend,
Now they can.
now they can.
It's weird, yeah.
So-
So it's really encouraging to hear that families have so many ways that they can create something meaningful and unique. Without sharing anything confidential, can you tell us about an aspect of your work that really illustrates its impact, so that the viewers can say, wow, God forbid, but we are all going to die, because that is a fact of life. We are born, and then we leave this earth. But just something that can really resonate with the viewers.
Well, I would hope this resonates with the viewers. It resonated certainly with me. As I've mentioned, one of the areas of service is service officiation that we provide. A family called me, a woman called me about a year and a half ago, and said that her husband had passed, and they were looking for someone to officiate and help them put together a service to honor him. He was a Navy veteran. He was going to be buried at the Mass National Cemetery in Bourne, and on the Cape. And so we put together a service, and I officiated that. And we created something very meaningful in connection, at the direction of the family, if you will. And about a year later, almost a year later, the son and daughter, her son and daughter called me, and she had passed away. And they wanted me to put together a service and officiate for her mom. And so we did that. We put together something very meaningful, again, down at the Mass National Cemetery in Bourne, where she was to be buried at his side. And that was just incredibly meaningful to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That speaks volumes.
That they
goodness.
Right, exactly. And so they reached out and wanted me to do that, and they sent me a lovely note following that, and it was really something very special to be able to help the family in that way.
I know you well personally, and I can only imagine from a business end of things just how incredibly powerful that you are, as far as you make a very stressful, frightening part of life not scary. I've just seen you in action and hearing your different stories, so it just makes such a difference in helping the families at their most difficult time, where they can truly just be with their other family members and friends and start to grieve, because as we know too, the grieving process can take years. There's no specific length of time. For the viewers that are thinking, I really need to start planning, I need to contact Howard, what's the next first step? How can they reach you? What is the best way?
Yeah, I think the best way is really to go to our website, sacredtraditionsconcierge.com,
Okay.
sacredtraditionsconcierge.com, and they could take a look at our website. We're pretty proud of that. It has all the
The
information.
website's excellent.
Thank
I've
you.
seen it,
Thank
gone
you.
through it.
Appreciate
So.
that. A lot of FAQs, frequently asked questions, our 5 areas of service, a bit about me and how we started this and how we operate,
Right.
and all the contact information is there. But that would be the first place, and then placing a call, we'll get a return call generally within about an hour, and the first conversation is complimentary. We would talk for 15, 30 minutes, an hour,
Okay.
to see what they're looking for, and then should they decide to move forward, we would put together a plan for them, and with transparent costs, so
Okay.
they have no surprises.
Okay. And then how, as far as payment options, is it just a typical check, credit card? Do you take Visa? I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah, typically it would be a check or,
Okay.
or Venmo,
Okay.
but
All right, good.
sort of old-fashioned that way. A check,
That's
check
great.
works.
That's great. Checks still work, right?
Exactly.
Wow, this is great. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I really appreciate the important and meaningful work that you do, helping the various families navigate some of the most difficult times through Sacred Traditions Funeral Concierge. To our viewers, thank you so much for spending time with us on Living Your Best Senior Life. I'm Nancy Andre from Wingate Living. Until next time, take good care of yourself and each other. Thank you again, Howard.
Thank you.